This video is about a 96 Nissan Sentra. It's a little 1.6 liter that they've used since the beginning of time, almost. I'm being sarcastic. But basically, to do a water pump on one of these, the first thing you do is you yank this water tank. The water tank sits into a plastic bracket. It fits in there really good. You can wiggle it a little bit, but if you want it out, you've really got to pull hard. It pulls straight up. After you've done that, then you pull the bracket out that it sits in. It looks like this. It's just a, it snaps in. You pull that out with one little 10mm head. It's a little M6 bolt. Set that aside, and what that does is it enables you to be able to get to the side bolt for the motor mount. There's another bracket that sits over the top of everything. It sits like this on the motor. And you just pull the bolt out of here. There's another one on this side, another one this side, and then it'll pull free. Once it's out of the way, this thing's kind of built in layers. Once that's out of the way, you can pull the bolts out of this part of the motor mount, and then it's free. I've supported the motor from underneath, and you see what this does is it enables you to get a world of access that you wouldn't have otherwise, and that way you can get the last bolts out of here. This one, and the bottom one under here are a little difficult to access. This one, the water pump actually froze up and burned the belt right off. Kind of interesting. So this is what the water pump looks like. I've got the new one here. I've got a couple of bolts pulled. I put it in places to just keep track of them. So there's 5 bolts into that, and then you'll notice in the end there's 3. It's got this metal apparatus. You're looking at it from the top here. That's what you see down there. There's a little hose here. I'll wiggle it just so you can see it, that you just take off of that. And then also there's a radiator hose, type hose. It's a bypass hose that's down in here. You loosen the clamp off of that. What I'll do is I'll take off the water pump and I'll reassemble this bracket portion that you see here. And I'll do that out of the car. It's a lot easier that way. The quickest, dirtiest way to get it out is just to unbolt the water pump, undo those hoses, and then you have it free. It's a lot easier to do on the ground or on a workbench than it is in the car. So that's what I'm going to do. I think that's pretty much the skinny on how to do this water pump. If there's any other details, I'll add those. Okay, we're revisiting this water pump. I've got it pulled away. I said it'd be easier to do it on the bench, but with this one, I discovered there's a couple more hoses that tie into that. Plus you've got your thermostat going on here. Plus that hose just won't come off. So I'm saying it's probably easier to flex it out of the way and then using an extension to get into these. It's easier to just disconnect this portion of the water pump with the 3 bolts that you have here. And that's my final word on that. Be sure to rate, subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks. Okay, so here's the final verdict on this thing. I pulled it out, and you can see how there's a big gap there and there's no gap there. Just locked up solid. If it weren't a flip can and you can see detail, you'd be able to see ball bearings in there. It came out. So looks like it was weeping out that wheat pole for quite a while. You can see the stains on it set in this way. So anyway, the way that this comes out, I've got this jacked up a little higher so that you're able to see. But the water pump sits in there just like this. Best way to pull it, I found, is to just only unbolt the pump, and it's easy to do because this actually allows you to flex and move it around. So that's the final word.